Hey guys, Tim Gillette Show, and I am back with another great guest. Jacqueline Grant is my guest today, and I am excited to get to know Jacqueline on camera today. You know, this is the great thing about doing 100 interviews in 30 days is some people you know, some people you kind of know, and some people you got to find out who they are. So I literally am going to find out about Jacqueline, all right, and all right, her Women Consulting Summit. I assume there's some other stuff she's doing. I'm pretty sure she's going to give us the rundown on it. She seems like a really cool person, and you know, it always, that's what I'm doing this whole series of 100 interviews is getting to know you and introducing you to my audience. So let's bring Jacqueline Grant on here and find out all about her. Hi, Jacqueline.
Hey, Tim. It's great to be here with you and your audience. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. So, first of all, okay, that is a gorgeous background. That is a beautiful picture.
Since we can't go outside right now, that's my outside.
I know you. Yeah. I get to see it, but I'm looking at my neighbor's balcony. Anyway, but yeah, it's great to do whatever we've got to do to be in this time right now. So, and Jacqueline, I know you were scheduled last week, but you had to reschedule because, you know, you had some health problems. First of all, is everything better?
Everything's better. It was not COVID related, but it was stomach related. It was something I ate that was not very good. So I'm glad I'm here now, healthy, and I hope everyone out there is healthy as well.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome to our show. We do interesting things here where we want to get to know you. So let me start off with this. Tell us about Jacqueline and where she lives.
Jacqueline is a business management and marketing consultant, and I'm very passionate about empowering people to use their natural gifts, talents, and abilities to be all that they can be and do all the things that they want to do, all the things that are right back here that they wish they could do someday, somehow, somewhere, and they never have a plan for it. I help them to develop that plan to get it done and that they can get to do what they've always wanted to do. And I am located in hot Atlanta, kind of warm Atlanta right now.
Atlanta. Hey, we were talking about Atlanta on the last podcast. Like the guy on the last podcast, his firm designed something at the airport. So,
oh yeah, the airport is full of opportunities for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in our business where we travel to speak, all right, you have had to have gone through Atlanta's airport at one point in time. Probably in the last couple of years.
They say it's the world's busiest airport.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've switched planes in Atlanta at least a dozen times in the past 10 years.
Well, you can get anywhere from there. It's a major hub that you can pretty much get anywhere and get a direct flight to most major places.
Yeah. So how long have you been in Atlanta?
I have been here. I can't even believe it. It's coming up on 15 years. I moved here. I'm originally from New York. I'm a native New Yorker, and I came to the South. I came to the South 15 years ago. My mother had actually retired here. There? And yes, I'm here.
Jacqueline?
Yes, I'm here.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
We may have lost an entire broadcast today, and I don't know what happened. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me? Hello?
My whole screen went dead in the middle of a broadcast. This is a first for me, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully if Jacqueline does hear me, she kicks back in. Jacqueline, you there?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that is the first time that's ever happened on this platform.
I am here. Can you in the audience hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. All right, so hopefully people are hearing us now. Let's see here. We got making sure. Oh my gosh, glitches galore.
You know why, Tim? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
because everybody's sucking on the internet right now. Everybody's sucking on the internet. The whole world is sucking on the internet. That's why.
Wow. So yeah, of all times to do a wonderful challenge. By the way, this is just a good example of how people roll. This is how you can tell the good people. You know why? They're like, yeah, well, it's just part of the game today. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going.
Yeah. So, Jacqueline, we were talking about how long you'd been in Atlanta, and I blacked out when you just started to say something. My computer started going, whoop. Yeah.
Well, I am a native New Yorker, born and raised, and I have been in the Atlanta area now. Coming up this year will be 15 years, and I can't even believe it's been that long. But yes, 15 years. My mother actually retired here back in the 90s, and she always wanted me to move here, and I was like, no. And when she passed, I came several times to check on her house, and I said, not so bad. I could do this. So yes, I've been here 15 years now, and I do love it. I enjoy it. I went to Syracuse University, snow country, and glad to be here now where I don't have to deal with the snow. It's nice to visit, but I don't have to be in it. We get snow here at least once a winter, a little bit, and that's it. So I can get to see what it looks like, but I don't have to shovel, and I don't have to wear the galoshes and all that stuff.
So yeah, I mean, it's like it's there, and it's gone by Tuesday, right?
Or if not the same day.
I used to have a joke. I used to have a roommate who was originally from Boston, and I've lived up in Boston as well. And we used to talk about, down here, like I live in Dallas, and we get the snow. All right, it starts Saturday morning. It starts snowing, and by Tuesday, it's 80 degrees again. He says up in Boston, it starts snowing on Saturday, and it clears up sometime in March or April.
Yeah, wow. I don't miss the snow because I just spent such a huge amount of my life in it. But I'm glad that I experienced it, and now it's just time for something different. Different phase of life.
So down in moving from New York down to Atlanta. All right. Have you always been in business for yourself, or is this something you said, okay, well, I'm in Atlanta now, I've got to do this?
Actually, I started my business in New York. My last position as a paid employee was as director of marketing for an HMO that covered New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. And interesting how times they go in cycles. I was downsized or laid off because my company was bought out by a larger HMO. And so I had been doing my business while still working corporate. And when the opportunity came that I was then not having to report to a job, from 9 to 5, I actually made a decision to put both feet on the same side of the fence and just do my business and only my business. And that was 2005. And I haven't worked for anyone as an employee since then. So I started there. And because I was doing my consulting business, I said, wow, I can do this from anywhere. Mm-hmm. That's when I decided I could move to a warmer climate. I could move to the Atlanta area where my mother had a house and be able to take care of her house, get my own house, and to be able to be in a hub city where I could get to anywhere. When I had to do networking events, conferences, or see clients, I could get a direct flight from Atlanta to go anywhere. So still love New York. New York is still dear in my heart, but being able to be here in a warmer climate, the second half of my life is a good thing.
Oh, okay, cool. So, So you're helping all these clients in this area. What is it that the one thing that clients come to you, all right, and they're like, they make you the one-stop shop they want to come to you for?
You're perfect when you say that one-stop shop. Early in my career, I worked in nonprofit organizational management. And what I found is that clients that we served didn't want to necessarily go to 10 different places to get the services that they need. They didn't want to, and sometimes they didn't have the ability to. And I saw early on the ability to have a one-stop shop where everyone could come to one place, tell their story one time, and get the services that they need. And I ingrained that in my brain for future reference when I started my own business to adopt that same type of model where I'm a very multifaceted person, and I knew I had to be an entrepreneur eventually to be able to bring all of my talents and gifts and abilities to the table where I could be all I could be without pigeonholing myself into one or two categories. So with my business, I'm a business management and marketing consultant, and I can bring all of those skill sets to the table to be able to be that one-stop shop, because as a visionary myself, I can help bring to form the vision that an entrepreneur or a professional person who wants to transition into entrepreneurship, they can tell their story, their hopes and their dreams and their ideas to me one time. And I can take that story, that idea, that vision, and bring it into fruition for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I have a very creative, analytical side, and I have a very a creative side and an analytical side. So when I'm able to kind of take that vision and break it into pieces and make it into a blueprint for success, they can follow that success and have that outcome that they desire. So I am that one stop where they can come. And as a project manager, I'm also a certified project manager, being able to give them that blueprint and break it down into manageable pieces, what they need to do. They often know the end result, what they want, but they just don't know the steps of how to get there. So I can take that vision, break it into small pieces, and get them to the result that they're looking to achieve. So being that one-stop shop, if I can't do all that is necessary, I have a team of professionals with a variety of different skill sets and areas of expertise that do. And that way I can partner with them to help the project be successful.
So, I mean, you've learned how to build an awesome team, is what you're saying?
Well, it's all about relationships.
Yeah.
And when you plant the seeds of getting to know people, a variety of different types of people, a lot of different business types and industries, I want to be able to say, if someone needs a particular skill set, if I don't know how to do it or I don't have that skill set, I can say, I've got somebody for you. I know a guy, I know a girl, I know somebody. So I want to be able to be that resource, and I like to be that connector of people. So I don't always have to be the one, but I want to be able to refer to the appropriate source that I know will be a good resource for that particular person.
Okay. Well, I mean, and building a team, and you sound like you've gotten really good at this. Was there a point in time in the past that you struggled and you went, oh my gosh, I just can't make a friend? Did you have that? Is it something you had to grow through, or was it something that came natural to you?
A little bit of both. It's about finding the right people, not just finding a person. It's about finding the right person. So one thing that I do with networking, and I'm a big networker. I love to network and meet new people. And what I find in growing and scaling my business, and something that I share with others who want to do the same, is to be able to be the unique person in the room, as opposed to being in the room with many others who are just like you. For example, if I'm looking to gain new clients, I wouldn't necessarily go to an event where there are going to be others like me, other project managers or other business management consulting people. I want to be the only person in the room that does what I do, so that as I meet people, they can say, well, oh, tell me more about that. Or, oh, I never heard about that before. And I can be that unique person. But if I go to a project management meeting, everyone there already knows about project management. They know the benefits of project management. There's nothing new I can tell them. So I like to be that unique unicorn in the room.
Well, that's interesting that, you are that one in the room. So, I mean, who would you say that you could contribute back if you went back and said, there's this one mentor I had that said maybe one line, one thing, or one thing they poured into your life? Who would it be, and what did they say to you?
That's a great question. And what really comes to mind, which may be a little cliche, but it's my mother. It's my mother that has given me the foundation for this business, because when I was in college, I studied psychology. I didn't know anyone who studied psychology. I didn't know anyone who was doing what I wanted to do. But she said to me, use what you have in your hand. Use what you already know. And in essence, that's what I did in this business. I took the gifts, talents, and abilities that I already had, that I already knew how to do, that people were already asking me my advice on, people that were already asking me how they should execute something based on what they've seen me already do. And so I just found people who needed what I already knew how to do. Because when you think about it in the big scheme, something that might be very easy for you is foreign or hard for someone else who's coming along the same path that you are already on, that you've already been on. So what is easy for you is something that someone else wants to know how to do. You just need to find those people. It doesn't have to be the whole world is your target audience. It's just the people who want what you have to offer. And the things that come naturally to you are usually the things that you're meant to do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So my mother, in essence, told me, do what you're good at, do what you have that natural inclination to do, and you'll always be successful because you'll be coming from the heart and you'll be genuine and you will be enjoying what you do versus trying to do something. We all are multifaceted. We all have a lot of different abilities, but we might have to bend a certain way to do those things. Whereas when you can just do what comes naturally, you're much more at ease.
Cool. So, and it's always unique to see how many people, when I ask that question, that it is a parent, it's a mother, it's a father, and grandparents, you know what I mean? Something like that. It's always interesting. So let me ask, do you have kids?
I have two. I have a 16-year-old and a 20-year-old.
A 16-year-old and a 20-year-old. Okay.
Yes.
So the 16-year-old, I'm just curious, is the 16-year-old the trouble right now?
Well, she's always on her phone right now because we're all at home. So as long as she has that phone, she's okay.
She's not trying to take the car out in this mess?
No, luckily not. No.
So boys or girls?
16 is a girl, 20-year-old boy.
Okay. So in the fact that you've got your, key mentoring from your parents, now that your 20-year-old son is gone off and maybe, out towards adulthood, do they feel that they've gotten the same bit from you?
Yes and no, in that they see me as a business person and they don't necessarily want that life. They think business is boring and not cool and all of those kind of things. My son, he's into music. He has his degree in sound engineering, so he works in that industry, and he's very happy with that. He wants nothing to do with an office, nothing to do with that type of structure. He likes to be very freewheeling and so forth. But I do see every now and then a glimmer of process orientation that I've tried to show him as to how to get from point A to point Z in a strategic manner, not in a haphazard way, but really thinking out their steps of how they're going to operate, because that's one of the things that I really see as not really there with our younger generations of thinking things through. And I don't mean that as a negative per se, but it's just different. It's just a different way of thinking. And I don't see that as predominantly. And I think that my son is really starting to see the benefits of that now that he is really working in a very large predominant industry, the music industry.
Okay. And it's just interesting because usually it's like, you know what I mean? The person that I've gotten mentorship was a business person, and the people who come to me the most to get my advice are business persons. So I was wondering if it related with the parent kid type thing like that. That's why I was asking that.
I think it will come around full circle later on. He's still kind of finding his way in some respects. Yeah. So I think it will come around full circle, because even going back to my mom, one thing I used to say, let's say in my 20s, I used to say, well, I didn't have a mentor. I had to figure it out all on my own. However, my mother worked in the fashion industry. Mm-hmm. When we lived in New York, she worked on 7th Avenue. She worked in Manhattan, and she worked for a lot of different, fashion houses and so forth. And she would come home after working all day and make wedding dresses, bridal party dresses. Her expertise was bridal gear. And she would make things for people for their events. And it wasn't till recently that I really saw her. She was an entrepreneur. She was a business owner. She had her own small business where she sewed for people at night and made designer outfits for them that was specifically made for them. Custom made. And I really appreciate that now, because it showed hard work, determination, focus. I was brought up on a Singer sewing machine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was her livelihood that fed me. That's what I grew up on.
Yeah. Cool. So, I mean, and now, I mean, as when we take it out of the parent-child relationship, and now we take it from you to your clients, do many of your clients, first of all, your clients younger or older, and second of all, do some of them kind of look up to you like a parent?
In some respects, yes.
Mm.
My clients are typically, well, my business has a twofold approach. I do business management consulting and I do professional development certification training. So if you're familiar with Scrum, Agile, Six Sigma, project management, I do training in all of those because oftentimes the business customers don't have the ability to execute the solutions I might provide for them. So they need the training to be able to execute the solution and vice versa. So those clients tend to be more mid-career adults, men and women, anywhere between 30, 40, 50 and up. However, from the consulting side of my business, which is the Women's Consulting Business Summit that you have there at the bottom, I'm specifically talking to women because they typically are what I call the sandwich generation, where they have a good income, or maybe they've lost their income based on recent times,
Mm-hmm.
but they are usually charged with taking care of senior parents as well as high school or college age children.
Mm-hmm.
So that good income is being diverted in two different ways. And they are starting to wonder, well, what's going to be left for me? Or what's going to happen when I retire? So I'm specifically working with those mid-career professional women to help them to start their own consulting business so that they will have additional income now, but also when they're ready to retire, that new business will then be up and running and scaled by that time so that they have that income for retirement. So the Women's Consulting Business Summit is really developed for that woman who is worried about her particular future when she's taking care of everyone else.
Wow. So how long have you been doing the Women's Consulting Summit?
Actually, I have been doing that with the female clients that I've had for the past 5 to 7 years. It's
Mm-hmm.
just now that the marketplace has really shown me the demand and need for specifically working with women to help them maneuver this time where they are, whether it's 5, 10, 15 years from retirement, and really being in a power position as opposed to just taking care of everyone else and then there's nothing left for them. Even if they have a good retirement per se, they're still wondering, I can do what I do with my eyes closed right now. Is this all there is? They're not passionate about what they do anymore. So they want to find something that they can be passionate about when they retire. And so I hope to position them now so that it'll be ready for them when they do retire.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and is your summit, is it a live or is it online normally?
Well, because of recent events, it was going to be a live event. However, now everything that we planned is going to transition into a virtual event.
Mm-hmm.
We have the main event, the main summit that will be in September of this year.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was doing a 14 city physical tour, which will now be a 14 city virtual tour, mm-hmm. where we will engage with professionals in each of those cities. We'll work with women and just understand, if there is a supportive gentleman out there who wants to support their female entrepreneur, or if there's just a gentleman who wants to partake of the information, we're not going to close the door to you. You're welcome as well. But of course, we know that you have to be able to focus on a particular audience. And that's because I'm a woman. I am speaking to women as well. I'm giving the story and the strategy for success that I had. That's mm-hmm. what I'm giving to the women so that they can have a similar successful outcome. But it is a 14 city tour that will be virtual, and we will culminate with a grand summit in September. Lots of resources, guest speakers, tools, techniques, strategies, lessons learned, case studies, all of this to help you get from where you are to wherever it is that you want to go in your business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's cool. I mean, first of all, it's when you say gentlemen are welcome, it's funny because 3 out of the 4 major groups that I'm involved with are women right now.
Really?
Yeah, I speak on a lot of e-women stages, smaller venues, and I spoke with Women's Prosperity Network. I spoke at one of theirs as well, but like that concept that what I mean, everybody thinks that we're a women's group, we don't let men in, all right, as opposed to we're here to help women, and if a man comes along, we're going to help him too.
Absolutely.
That
The thing about
I think that's the attitude we need. Yeah.
the thing about it is that one of the key reasons why entrepreneurs don't succeed is because they don't have the supportive environment around them, whether that's family and friends in general or whoever is their significant other.
Yeah.
And when you have a significant other, male or female, that is supportive of you, your probability for success skyrockets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if there is a gentleman that wants to come and support or wants to come for his own knowledge and information and business, we're not going to close the door to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I so appreciate that when I hear it. It's just like, yeah, in today's day and world, you know what I mean? The men, we have some men's stuff that's like, church based. I don't know what your religious background is, but like church based.
I'm a Christian.
Yeah. Christian as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And like, it's like we get into, like, we had a men's Bible study at my church for years. That was a Friday morning thing at 6 a.m. And we talked about some men's topics that you really wouldn't want to be in there as a woman. But it was great to have that, but it didn't mean that we isolated. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so good, because we realize that there's a time for like the Ecclesiastes. There's a time for, and there's a time for not. Yeah. So
well, I have a significant amount of men as clients as well, and they are interested in the same topics. So when I share the information, some of them, actually, I did a meetup group a couple of weeks ago, and I had more men than women, and the description actually talked about it being for women, but more men showed up.
Yeah,
I'm happy. They're happy. We just want to really empower people.
Yeah. So if you want to look at your client base, does it have a higher percentage of men versus women, or is it about the same, or what?
It really just depends on who comes through at any point in time, because there are times when I have more men than women. There are times I have more women than men. It really, there's no rhyme or reason other than whoever raises their hand at that particular time, because as they
need
say,
help. You don't care who they are. I need help. Okay, well, let's help.
Well, I do care who they are, because I do want to make sure that it is a match and that we are in alignment with each other. But when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right?
Yes. Yes.
So they may be familiar with me, but it's not until they're ready that they come forth.
Exactly. So you've got a very interesting business model. All right. Now I know you got kids. I know you got a husband. What is something you guys really like to do, like you and your husband like to do to get away? You have a getaway thing that you guys like to do?
We love to travel. Can't do that right now, but we do love to travel. And what I really love about being a consultant and having my consulting business is that I can do my business from anywhere. I can travel as need be, whether it's for business formally, for a conference, or to meet with a client, or for social. I can still do my business from anywhere, because for me, it's not work. I enjoy what I do. I love to empower people. I love to see that aha moment when they have an area of success, or they get something that they didn't get before. I enjoy what I do. So what appears to someone else as me working all the time is really me just being me all the time. Because if I'm inspired by something that will help a client, I don't care if I see that at 2:00 in the morning when it's not work hours. I don't care. I want to be able to find resources and things that will help propel my clients forward. So I'm working all the time, but technically for me, it's not work. It's just what I enjoy doing. And I'll just give you a quick example. Last year for my birthday, we went to Las Vegas, and I had a class running, meaning one of my project management classes, which runs several weeks at a time. And I didn't have to cancel the class. I didn't have to cancel any conversations I was going to have with clients, I just did them from Las Vegas. So it was very interesting to be able to just run my schedule as usual, no matter where I am. So that's what I really enjoy.
Like you're from Vegas going, you know what I mean? Yes, I'll help you. No, I'm sure I'm not a gambler, so I wouldn't know.
Well, I'm not a gambler either, but the point is there's still lots of things you can do without gambling, but it's just the point, even to a benefit for me, is the fact that I flew out. I specifically got a flight that I would get in 2 hours before my class was supposed to start. My class was supposed to start at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And so I got in at 3 o'clock. I'm confused now with the timing, but I got in, and what was 6 o'clock for my students was 3 o'clock for me. So I did my class at 3 o'clock in Las Vegas. I was finished by 5 o'clock Vegas time and was still able to go out to dinner because the time difference was to my advantage. So it really just worked out, and I planned things out. When you have a good plan, that's part of the project manager in me. When you have a good plan, you can do anything that you need to do and have success with it.
So, I mean, yeah, and that's it. It sounds like, you know what I mean? You find the joy in the world when you decide you're going to find the joy in the world.
True, because I am one, you may not know this, Tim, but I'm a bit of control freak, you know? So if I can plan it all out, and still there's some flexibility in there, but if I want to do something, I'll find a way to do it and strategically develop a way to do it. And that, I feel, has been an advantage in business and helping people when they say, well, this roadblock came up, or I can't do it because of this. My mindset is I'm going to find a way over it, under it, around it, through it to get you to your goal. So I've taken that mindset and hopefully made it a plus.
Yeah. Well, with that, let me ask this. Have you ever had a challenge that kind of, you know what I mean, that was the rough one to get through that you'd mind sharing with the audience, something, and maybe you can teach from it to this audience?
Well, one thing that's very important in business is keeping your ear to the ground as far as changes in the marketplace. And when I had a very high point in my business during 2008, 2012, the economic downturn, a lot of people needed the professional development training because they had lost their positions, and the only way they could get a new position is by getting these certifications. So that was a very high point. And then when everything supposedly got better, my business was not as great because the demand was not as high. And what I saw was I needed to shift gears and go online in order to serve more people beyond my physical location. And so I saw those signs earlier on that I needed to do that, but I didn't do it in a timely fashion. So by 2017, I took my business totally online, and the turn of that ship took a lot longer than I anticipated that it would. To change my whole business model of how I got clients, from networking and meeting people and referring and so forth, that physical aspect of getting clients to getting clients online was a bit of a challenge. And what I thought would take a few months wound up taking probably almost 2 years to be able to do that. Because while I do have a marketing background and I know certain aspects of marketing, that's a big umbrella, social media was not necessarily my forte. And because I was so used to having that one-on-one engagement to get clients, to have those conversations, to get clients, making that shift was really difficult. And it took a long time to turn that ship around. But once I did, it was a great thing because now I serve clients all around the country, all around the world. I have clients from places I would have never even imagined. I have a client that lives in Australia. I have clients in Mexico. I have clients in Canada, in Jamaica, and in Europe. So I've found ways to now expand my reach, but that shift was really long.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would do differently now is utilize the connections that I had in a different way, because I really wasn't asking for help. I was just trying to pummel through on my own. So that was a very challenging period, almost to the point where I was going to just stop doing that business and try something totally different. But I stuck with it. It turned, and I'm glad I'm here now.
Cool. So, we kind of mentioned quite a bit on your summit. All right. Would you tell everybody the website where they can go find that?
The website is the womensconsultingsummit.com, women's with an S, consultingsummit.com. And this is designed specifically to help women to use their natural gifts, talents, abilities, things that you already know, things that you're already familiar with, things that you're already good at, and to be able to consult in that expertise. And yes, you are an expert in that. If you've ever been hired for any job, they hired you because you were the expert compared to everyone else who was applying for the position. So when you do that mind shift change to see that you are an expert and the things that come very easily to you, you can show someone else how to do it because it's valuable to them. They will pay you for it. As long as you start to position yourself the right way, and that's where you might need some help or some mentoring to do that, you can be a consultant full or part-time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, womensconsultingsummit.com. So it's been cool to have you on today, Jacqueline. But before I close out today, I have a list of a game. Have you watched my episodes to know I play a little game with people?
I know you play game, Tim.
I've got this game called This or That.
I'm holding on. I'm ready.
It's only a couple of questions that I think, well, my audience might want to know about you, or mainly I just want to know. So it's I give you two choices. You pick one of them. All right. Which one fits you? And, there might be one or two that you go, huh? Flow with it. Pick one and laugh it off. So let's start off with this because I've noticed them. All right. Fake nails or real nails?
Real. And not just because there's no one to do nails anymore right now. I do them myself, my nails.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good one. I was wondering because I've seen the nails and I'm like, that's one of the things I'm going to ask.
See?
Yeah. So let me go to this one then. In this time of education, would you rather read a book or listen to a podcast?
Podcast all the way. I have 2 new podcasts that are launching next month in May. And I'm very excited about them. So yes, podcast. And everybody's listening to podcasts now.
Yeah. That's what we're creating, a podcast. Yeah. Yes. You're going to have a guest, right?
Yes. That's the next conversation.
Yep. So this one here is going to be something that's kind of something girls would pick. High heels or boots?
High heels, baby.
Oh, yeah. I got to love a woman who likes high heels. Yeah.
Yes.
How about beach or mountains?
Beach.
Could tell that by the photo behind you for those who are on the audio version.
Was that a giveaway?
Yeah. Beer or wine?
Wine.
Okay. So red wine?
Red wine. Actually, I prefer rosé, but can't always get that everywhere. So I'll take a Merlot if nothing else is available.
Cool. You got some good taste, girl.
Thank you.
Now, this is one of my favorites, taco or hamburger?
Hamburger.
I will gladly pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today. This one here, I thought I'd throw in there. It's kind of a wing zinger there. You want to dress up or would you rather wear yoga pants and hang out at home?
Believe it or not, because my mother was in the fashion industry, I've got the fashion bug. So I will dress up anytime. And people always say, well, why are you all dressed up? That's normal for me.
I know. There's days that I actually just want to sit at home, like, but I dress up. Like even in this, I get up every morning and still get dressed, and I'm always dressed and working. So yeah, it's funny. Some people are different. Yeah. So my last two are, one's fun and one of them can be a war right now. This one here, if you have it, can be a war, but I've decided I'm going to ask it. Toilet paper, under or over?
Over. I used to be an under when I lived with my mom, but I became an over afterwards once I left her home.
That is, the people will fight over that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway. And the last one here may not necessarily be what you like or you wear, but it may be what you like to see your man wear. Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
See, it's not all that bad.
It was great. It was great. So I have one for you.
Yeah.
I have to think of a good one now. One for you is laptop or iPad or tablet.
Oh no, yeah. I'd rather work on a laptop. Yeah. My tablet's for games and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just have gotten to be, and I actually now I prefer my desktop because of the fact that I have 3 screens and it's an whole studio but the laptop's here just in case for backup.
Do you know how many computers I have?
How many?
I have iterations, four computers, meaning laptops, and 3 tablets and 2 phones.
Yeah. I have several of them here. I actually have right there is my original laptop from when I started my business. I still have it. It's an old Dell. It just doesn't work, but I kept it because I had the sticker on the front of it. But we have a picture somewhere. I'd have to go through social media and find it. My buddy Mike O'Neill, the LinkedIn rock star, was at my house. And my daughter was there and she was babysitting somebody. And we had a line starting with the baby, starting with the baby had the cell phone in hand. My daughter had the most recent computer. All right. And we went down the line. All right. As age went up, it was an older version of computer or something. My buddy Mike, who's about 6 years older than me, he was on like a 1980s Apple computer.
Oh, wow.
And my father-in-law had an 1800s typewriter. And we have a picture of it. Was a generational picture of technology.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I have an old Royal typewriter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's funny what we've had and what we had. So anyway, so one more time, tell everybody your website so the audio people can hear it.
My website is the womensconsultingsummit.com, and men and women are welcome.
Cool. Well, Jacqueline, I thank you for coming on the show today. All right. It has been a pleasure getting to know you. All right. And have some fun with you.
Thank you so much, Tim. It was a pleasure being here with you and your audience, and I look forward to having you on my shows.
Cool. So, guys, that's another episode of the Tim Gillette Show. Wonderful guest today, Jacqueline Grant, all right, of womensandconsultingsummit.com. Go check her out and come back here again. Make sure you subscribe and like our channels so that you can catch us every time we do one of these broadcasts. I'm Tim Gillette. I'll see you next time. Bye.